Hi, and welcome to SunnyDayStamping.com. I'm Julie Baca, and we're making a great fun fold card today. I've got lots of tips showing you how to cut your paper efficiently, how to color the image really great, and for all of the measurements for this project, I don't say them in the video because I'd probably say them wrong, and I don't, but there is a blog post that goes along with this video. It's over on my website, SunnyDayStamping.com, but there's a link in the description that's going to take you directly over there. So after you watch the video, go grab all the measurements. I also provide a full list of supplies so that you get an idea of what I'm using, and if you want your cards to look just like mine, you can purchase supplies right from there. But this card, and like so many of my other cards, you can use what you've got. So this fun fold card, there's a focal point image in the middle that's stamped, and you can put anything in there and just use this concept. So let's get started. I'm calling this card the framed fold-out card because whatever you put in the middle here just looks like it's in a frame within a frame within a frame. That really just sets that off. Now you can put anything you want in this centerpiece and then open it up. It's got this great fold-out opening, but I think this is such a versatile layout you're going to be able to use with so many stamp sets. Now, to make it a little fancy, you can add some ribbon, and then you can see I did an embossing folder to really just set off this image even more. That is optional, definitely the stepped up option, but so gorgeous. Now I'm going to be using the Everlasting Beauty stamp set. I just love these floral images. A friend of mine bought this for me. It was so nice. And they've got these great greetings in here that are all just beautiful cursive, but you can also interchange any greetings out of other stamps that you have to go with these images. So we're going to start by stamping our image, and we're going to be using Stampin' Blends markers to color it in. So you want to use this Memento black ink, which is a water-based ink, which is not going to interact with the alcohol markers that we're using. So, but one thing with alcohol markers is they can make your ink bleed if you use it right away. So that's why I stamped this at the beginning of my project, and then I'm gonna get the whole card put together and then come back and color this in. And I've got tips for showing you how to do that. Now, the fold out section of this card is just a piece of cardstock sliced here at 3 3/4, and then it is then you score it in two different places. Let me get my project sheet. It is scored at 2 3/4 and 7 3/4. And we're going to go ahead and fold that. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp on the inside of our card also. So in case you want to have an image that you're going to color on the inside of your card, we want to stamp that now. Now, when I'm inking up larger blocks, I sometimes like to bring my ink to my stamp pad and just pounce it up and down, and I can really see if I've missed a spot. It just works out really well. And then, oh, see, I did miss a spot. Then I can just tap it over there and make sure that I got it. Then we're gonna, on this one, we're gonna stamp just in this middle section, and I'm just gonna have this come off the paper. I just want it peeking in here. And then we'll stamp our greeting, but we're going to close this up, and then we're going to stamp our greeting here, and we're going to use this line, this edge of the paper, to help us get our greeting straight. So I'm going to use this little greeting. I'm going to close this, and then we're going to stamp it right here. If friends were flowers, I'd have the pick of the bunch. I just love that. So now we're going to set both of these off to dry while we put together the rest of our card. So for the rest of our card, you're just going to need a piece for your card base, another one for that second layer, and then we're going to layer this on, and then you need a layer for the embossing, and then your frame in the middle. So really, there's not that much. All the measurements for these are over on my website, SunnyDayStamping.com. You can, in the description, you can click the link for the blog post. My email subscribers will get this project sheet with some instructions, and you can scan the QR code, which will go directly to the blog post. And it's just nice to have this printed out, all the measurements here. But if you'd like to be on my mailing list to get this, there's a link in the description also to get on my email list. Now I want, at the end, I'll show you, I have so many other examples to show you using all the different flowers, but you can see you don't need that many colors. So you're going to choose which colors you want in your flower, and then just choose one to be the accent color. And that's it. Now this is that optional step of embossing this piece of paper, which is going to give it that awesome texture. So grab an embossing folder. This is the quatrefoil tile, which I think works really great with those flowers. And you're going to line up your paper along this line in your embossing folder. That's going to ensure that the design is straight. And when you put it through your machine, make sure you're putting the rounded edge through your machine first. That's just going to preserve the life of your embossing folder. And now, my favorite part, I love getting these out. Check that out. I love it. So now what we're going to do from this piece is go ahead and cut a piece for the inside of our card. I just wanted to cut down on the steps for making this. So you emboss first and then we'll trim it. So grab your paper trimmer, and with your paper in landscape mode, go ahead and line it up with the 3/4 of an inch mark on this right side and slice off this piece. And we're going to use this to decorate the inside of our card. So go ahead and grab your interior fold out piece and really burnish those edges nice and good with your bone folder. That way it's going to try to lay as flat as possible. Oh, that's not, oh, I guess I didn't cut it exactly straight. You can see that edge is sticking out there a little bit. Oh, well. Okay, so this piece is going to go on the inside of the card, just so when they open it, they've got another piece of texture and color there. And instead of putting this directly on my card this way where the glue could goosh out, I'm going to actually open this and do it over my silicone craft sheet so that any glue gets on that instead. And just, I really want to make sure that is lined up really perfectly along that edge. Now for this other embossing piece, you can see that it is too big for the top, and that is on purpose because I am going to actually wrap this around, which is going to prevent any white from showing through. And I'm going to show you, because when I made this example, it bugged me. Like, okay, maybe I'm being like way too picky, but it really bugged me that I could see that white edge. I just thought that did not look nice. So that's why I'm wrapping it around, and you don't need to measure it or anything. So you're going to take your card and lay it flat, and you're going to put glue all along the edge of this piece here to the right of that fold line. And now you're going to take this edge and line it up perfectly on here. You can see I didn't cut that right. Oh my gosh, that's going to bug me. I'll be back. I got to cut that. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to cut it with our scissors after, or with the paper trimmer after. So let's go ahead and line this up. How did I cut that so slantwise? Okay, so it's hard to mush down on this with the embossing. So I actually flip it over, take your bone folder, and use that to just really flatten out that glue and make sure that is nice and stuck on there. And so what you're going to do, because you will have cut this right the first time, is you're going to take this and you're just going to wrap this around the edge there. But I am going to trim this off first. When things aren't right, sometimes you got to put them back in that paper trimmer. So this should be 3 3/4. So I'm going to actually line it up here on the edge, 3 3/4. I'm going to look all the way down the line on my paper trimmer and make sure it is straight. And then you can see how cattywampus that is. Now I'm going to be able to fix it. And I'm going to just run this all the way down. Ta-da! Saved. All right, so we're just going to pretend that I was doing this right the first time. So this is glued on, but this isn't. So you've rubbed it here, and now you've got this piece that you're going to wrap around, and then we're going to glue this down. And I just put just some glue here, and then wrap it around and just hold it until it is nice and stuck in place. And then grab your bone folder, and it's not going to matter if you mush the embossing off of this side because it's going to be glued down, and just really get that good with your bone folder just so it won't pop up. So now you'll glue this onto here and then this onto here, but you don't want to do it quite yet. If you put an image on the inside that you want to color, we don't want to glue it down yet because we'll get marker on here. So let's go ahead and get our coloring done. So this is the color palette I'm going to use for all of the examples that I'm going to show you at the end. For this particular card, we are just going to use these 6 colors, and these are Stampin' Up! Stampin' Blends markers. They'll alcohol markers, and you get them in a pack of 2 because one is dark and one is light, and you use them to blend them together to make this awesome definition and just deep, vibrant colors. I'm like addicted to these things. And if you're looking for a Christmas present for yourself, I know a lot of the moms out there are like, no, I don't need anything. These are such a fun thing to have, and they aren't that expensive. They're $9 a set. Perfect for somebody to get you for Christmas. I'm not really someone who likes like the tiny details. I like the tiny details, but like I don't like doing them. I don't like fussy cutting, and I don't like coloring, except for these markers. They make it so nice and easy, and you don't need to be an artist to do them. And they've got these 2 tips. One is the brush tip and one is a bullet tip. And I find that when I'm coloring like a larger image, I use the brush tip and it goes really quickly. And then if I need to get something very specific, I'll use the other end, which is the bullet tip. So I'm going to just show you. I'm just coloring in these leaves, and then let me pull in my dark. And like I said, you don't need to be an artist. Just do what the artist did in the image, which was just go along those lines or near the lines. Like, it doesn't even have to be perfect, and just layer in this deeper color. And you can see that it just really sets it off. Now under here would be a shadow, so maybe I'll put a little extra in there. I'm gonna make my stem with the dark color. So you can see I just used the light Calypso coral on all of those flower petals. Now I'm going to go back through with the dark, and just where the artist has lines here, or where I think there should be like a shadow, I just add this darker color. And man, it just sets it off awesome. Now the inside, I'm just going to do yellow here. So I did not buy all these markers at one time. Just every time I placed an order, I'd add like 2 or 3 combo packs of the markers, and then all of a sudden I almost have all of them, which is so fun. I also think these would make great like stocking stuffers. One thing you want to note when you're using these alcohol markers is to make sure you put the cap back on and hear it click, because they will dry out because they're alcohol markers. Another thing, which I didn't know at the beginning, was you want to store them flat. They're actually made flat so they don't roll around, but they'll last longer if you store them flat instead of like all up in a jar. Now you can see with this one, I didn't use just the 2 colors to blend. I used 3. So they do blend together, and man, do they look good. So you can see that just gives just extra interest. One thing you'll notice with Stampin' Blends, they bleed through to the back. So you want to pay attention to what you are coloring and that it has a layer behind it. Now when I press that in, I like to take my bone folder on the inside here and just smooth it out, especially up here where that's folded over. It just needs a little extra loving to make sure that is stuck down there, just like that. And then we'll glue it onto this big card base. One way to make your cards so interesting is just to add layers, 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 which, I mean, it doesn't take that much more time or effort, but it does make a difference. And the other thing is just that embossing folder. Man, that just really steps things up, and it doesn't take that much time to just run it through the embossing machine. So now we're going to put this on the front, and you want to make sure don't put glue all over, because then this will be stuck shut and we can't open it. So we're just going to put it at the top here. And then center it up on the card, and then hold it down in place until you feel confident that it is stuck. One last thing we're going to do is just take some linen thread and make a little bow. Just a simple, like, tie your shoe knot bow. Linen thread is so easy to tie. You guys know I struggle with tying, and this has like a little bit of, I don't know, I guess it's just the texture of the fibers. It holds in place so well. Now you can use liquid glue to attach that, but man, that is messy. It does squeeze through, so I like to use these mini glue dots, which are a little too big for the ribbons. So I just take it and kind of ball it up, and then right where the knot is, squish the knot into that glue dot, peel it up, and then you've got a self-adhesive little bow, and then stick that right where you want it. There we go. Let me show you some other examples. So as an option, you can emboss the inside of this, which looks gorgeous, and that was my original plan, but I was a little concerned that it was a little too thick to be mailed and might need extra postage, so I thought, okay, that won't be my example. But on the website and on the project sheet, I'll have the option for this. And what you're going to do, the same way that we wrapped around this top piece, you're going to do that for the bottom piece and just wrap it around and glue it. But man, isn't that gorgeous when they open it to have that texture? Oh, but I'm not confident that that's not going to cause extra postage for you. Then I was just playing around with colors, and I loved the look of the crumb cake. I think it just like makes those colors absolutely pop. And then I'm like, wait, what about black? And I'm like, oh my goodness, check that out. Is that not stunning? You can see I messed up right there. Oh well, it's staying. But man, the black just really makes things pop. And I feel like even with the black, this could be a card for a guy or a card for sympathy. It just is beautiful. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. You can also hit that subscribe button because I put out a new video every Thursday. So you can hit the subscribe and hit the bell to get notified so you don't miss any of my projects. Thank you so much for watching. Have a sunny day.